Barbara Bruss. I'm here. I've been working towards extending, I did this to keep it to a really short time. I've been working towards extending the time for the shelter since early April, when it was destined to close on the 15th of April, and council was on a break. Moni Law and I went down to the shelter. We took a lot of video interviews and started phoning and doing a lot of things that ended up getting the shelter. Somehow the shelter stayed open through the end of June after that. Though this felt like it was not enough time, it was at least an extension. I felt more was needed, and also saw the building as perfect for a full-time year-round location that could complement pathways and return some of the losses over the years and drop-in centers for those on the streets. I wanted to set up information tables. I did set up information tables and spread the word about the prospect, as well as speaking at every council meeting I could. I sat outside Pathways during volunteer weekend, speaking about supplementing that project with a full-time sheltering twice the amount that was going to be in the navigation center. I wrote petitions that were popular enough to gain almost 1,500 signatures in no time. I presented these to the council eventually, and after some discussion, the city manager admitted there were funds for another few months, yet another extension was given to August 31st. As the days passed, I continued to gather signatures everywhere I went, talk with anyone I thought could help, and fought as hard as I could, until I saw item 43 on the consent calendar recently, writing a lease for what was now being called the University Avenue Center. All we could manage to do at that point was move it to action calendar, where my hopes and dreams were crushed. It took a week or so before I could return to the shelter to apologize for losing this struggle, and once again videoed some residents over 2 days. This is a sample of the interviews. These are the people we must find a safe place for to rest their heads at night. In 10 days, these people are back on the streets in a doorway with a sheet of cardboard. By the way, there are close to 3,000 signatures now, and just last week, a woman was slashed with a machete outside of her tent in the middle of the day with witnesses. So let's go ahead and start this up, please.
And you said that you had cancer and had doctors nearby you need to stay in touch with?
Yeah.
So can you explain your situation?
Well, I was just afraid to leave the area, because if I was late, they would, 3 times, they would, send me elsewhere. I would have to leave, And I have health issues with sleep and different other things, pain and that, and it slows me down. I passed up an opportunity away from Berkeley that there was more housing, that, the next one that came around, but it doesn't look like there's any more coming around. So when this is over, I don't know where I'm going to go. And I've got osteoporosis, and I've got severe pain issues that right now even the medication is not helping.
Where did you grow up?
In Berkeley, on this street, down on 9th between Bancroft and Channing. Yeah, this is my home, and I feel like I'm being driven away, and it's a terrible feeling to know that you have,
I'm 25 years old.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in South Berkeley, and without I'm epileptic, and without my medications, I could die, or I could pass out without anyone knowing. And I also have a head injury and a speech problem. If the shelter closes, I don't know where I'm gonna go. That's why I need the shelters to find a new location.
Has a case manager worked with you here? Have you met anyone?
No.
No one's come in to meet with you about finding housing?
No.
I had several heart attacks, and I had a defibrillator and a pacemaker put in, and then they put me in a nursing facility for like 6 months. And then when I got out, I was like, well, now what do I do? I went and got EBT and food stamps, and I didn't have a place to live anymore. I didn't have a job anymore. I couldn't work anymore. And I was like, wow, it was a cold slap in the face. And I I just got out of the hospital again after 6 days because I'm fighting this thing that's very similar to pneumonia, but it isn't.
Yes, so a lot of people's disabled out here, and they can't find no house. And we senior citizens, and we got money coming in, but it's not enough money for us to get into an apartment. Well, I've been in and out of the hospital. I'm diabetic, and I got congestive heart failure. And it's hard for me, at first, before I got my wheelchair, it was hard for me to get around.
Where did you grow up?
Oakland, California.
So where will you go if the shelter closes as it says it will?
I don't know.
And one of the problems is that I get a chemo shot every month. I'm 72 years old and have incurable cancer. And the doctors are getting tired of me going from one place to the other because they have to send the information back. I mean, if you know doctors, you know how uppity they can get. And they're really getting that way. I mean, it's getting difficult. And when I leave here, I don't know really. In fact, I called today up in Skagit County. You know, there's one shelter there, the only shelter in Skagit County. And the problem there and in Port Angeles is that the vacancy rate is only 1% of, you know, it used to be like 11%. So now you have to have perfect, you know, credit, perfect landlord-tenant references. And of course, from living outside for a long time, I don't have landlord-tenant references. That I have something go way back. My credit is probably poor, and you know I get Social Security retirement, which really doesn't. You know, it's impossible to live around here and pay rent with that. You know, I was living up in Port Angeles, Washington, and their shelter closed. And I had lived here for about 20 years, and I came back here, and the shelter was open. I was surprised. So I've been here for about 2 weeks now.
Okay. And before the other shelter that closed, where did you live prior to that?
I lived here in Berkeley. I lived outside.
Oh, okay. And in Berkeley, you've been outdoors for 20 years?
Pretty much, yeah.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Seattle, Washington.
My name is Tyson. I've been homeless like maybe almost 3 years, but I've been here in Berkeley going on 4 months. And this shelter has really helped me. I've been managed to stay clean and sober. I go to church now. This shelter has really been a big help to me. And I don't know what I'm gonna do. I've been working towards my case management stuff for housing, but it may not come through by the 31st. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I'm looking forward for this shelter with the extension because it's really helping me. I got closer with my family, you know, my grandson and them. So I really need this shelter. Please, just let it stay open. Please give us a chance.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Berkeley's 9th Street shelter residents need stability, and this can be obtained by having a shelter that is open all year long without threat of closure. They need medical care and case advocacy. This can be provided by regular visits for those needing care from nurse practitioners and medical personnel. They need security, secure and accessible storage for residents to keep belongings and medication without fear of theft. They need accommodations for couples and accommodations for service animals for the disabled.